Hi, I'm Cynthia Schiller. Please like and subscribe where we help and heal one day at a time. I'm going to share a little analogy with you to get into the mind of the narcissist, how they love. The fact that we're actually strangers with the person we've been with or are currently with, what exactly is going on, how they love, and what depth that love is at. So I'm going to compare it to a caregiver, okay, a nurse's aide, a nurse, where they take the job based on the payoff. And in that situation, it would be how much money they're going to make. So, just like in the relationship, what kind of payoff they get. Is it worth the investment? So, this nurse takes this job, she's caring for the person. She doesn't really have an emotional connection with that person. She's just going through the motions. It gets her payoff, it gets her paycheck, gives her something to do so she's not bored. And same within the relationship, where the narcissist just cares about the supply. What do I get out of it? How big is my paycheck, which is you? And they just keep going through it. And let's say the nurse is kind of getting bored with this routine, mundane job. So she might want some excitement. She might find a different job. Maybe her needs are to go to a sunny state instead of a wintry one. So as long as the payoff is the same with a little bonus, which would be moving somewhere sunnier or either more challenging or easier, whatever suits her needs, she can leave that job without looking back. As she's caring for her patients, she doesn't really get to know them. Now, I've been to nursing school. You can get to know people somewhat, but it's not like this loving longing. You want to spend a life with these people. You can have a tender spot in your heart. But with the narcissist, when they're going through their motions, they're just looking at that paycheck. So they do put effort in. So we see the effort. The effort is for the payoff. The effort is not for us. And that's where it gets tricky. They don't have the emotional connection. So we're strangers to them. They don't really know us because they can't understand us. We're just to them like a meat suit. They can't absorb our love, which fills them with love, and it deepens the relationship. When you truly love somebody, that's why in your close knit of your friends, they mean something to you because you can rely on them. You can talk to them. You want to help them. You'll listen to them. You're developing a relationship. And what's confusing with narcissists is they do communicate with us. A lot of times they talk a lot, and we think that they're working through things. But when they gaslight us, it takes away from developing the relationship. So we're investing in something that is being depleted over time. Um, and that's the hardest part is when they talk to us, a lot of times it's to shut us up, to confuse us. It's not to connect with us. And that's kind of how strangers are. You don't really go out of your way to connect with strangers that much or to continue to connect with them. You might sit down and talk to a homeless person who's sad, but you don't go out of your way all the time. Some people have helped people, but my main point is the nurse caring for the patient. Um, they get the paycheck regardless of who the patient is. It doesn't really matter. Same with the narcissist. They might have a favorite patient. It's easier, more enjoyable. Sometimes you can have good conversation. So the narcissist will be drawn to the person who gives them the most supply. If things get difficult, they walk away. Just like the nurse, if she does not want to deal with tuberculosis patients, or some of these nurses quit because of COVID. It was something that they just didn't want to deal with. Um, and the narcissist, if they don't want to deal with working through the problem, they can't. It gets to the point where they can't gaslight us around it. The silent treatment isn't working as much because they've pushed us to the limit. Um, that's when they move on, and they often don't even like really take in what their past was. A lot of them forget it. A lot of them have skewed views on it. They kind of go through like a blackout thing. They make their own story. It's just like lying. They're lying to themselves. So when they're lying, it, it's hard to remember what that lie was. When it's a truth, you remember it. So since their life was a lie, it's hard to remember lies. And that's kind of a point I hope hits home, that they don't really know what their reality is because it's all been a lie, and lies are hard to remember. Um, that's why they can't remember their past. That's why they fill in the blank with stories, and that to them is their reality. Their reality is a lie, but that's their reality, and it comes across as very confusing to us. And we're strangers to them. They don't even remember a lot of the things that we've talked about, or they didn't take the time to invest in the person, in us. Because just like the nurse, a lot of times they'll just go and do the job. They might say, hello, how's your day? Do you have kids? But they're not really getting to know that person. And part of it is they don't want to get hurt, if the patient passes away. So they don't delve in that much to really develop a relationship because they don't want to get hurt if something happens to that patient. And with the narcissist, they also don't want to get hurt. And they're so hurt already that they put up this wall, just like the nurse kind of puts up a wall a little bit to not get too involved emotionally. So they put that wall up, and they keep us as strangers. The When they do get to know us, they use that as a tool, not as love, but as a tool. So if they know our favorite color, we're like, no, they asked what my favorite color was. It might be in the back of their mind that, if they push their luck, they know what color flowers to get because they know it'll touch our heart. But they're not concerned about touching our heart. They're concerned about not losing their supply. Um, and when things get too difficult, and they move on, a lot of times they can start to regret things. That's why you get the Hoover, because they need constant adoration. They're not alone. They can't stand to be alone. Um, they don't want to think about the pain that they have inside. So as they go through these struggles, they're so concerned about themselves and making up their story, creating the life that they feel they deserve. And in a sense, it's kind of hard to understand, like, do they really think they deserve it? Or do they just need it to be that way? And I think that a lot of times, watching these YouTube videos, they'll say deserve, that they think they deserve it. Um, I think they just need to have it that way. Not even necessarily that they deserve it. But if it goes anything other than that way, they can't handle it. So they act entitled. But deep in their mind, I don't think they process it that deeply. I just think that they have to have it that way. And they will go to great extremes to make sure the facade, this perfect image is upheld. Or, sometimes it's not always where it has to be positive. They just have to be the best of whatever, just to get either the shock and awe for attention or the adoration. And it gets really confusing because they seem kind hearted at times, with people on the outside that they give and give. Sometimes they are great at gift giving, they're great at helping. And that's where it gets confusing. We see this person who's so helpful, this person who goes out of their way, and they go out of that way uh, to kind of get a supply of everybody thinking that they're this amazing person, and they will overcompensate because they don't just go through their life. They do things which we see as somebody who like truly cares about people, and they just truly want to be noticed. And that's where it's hard to understand that we'll do something because we care about somebody. They do it because they want to get noticed. They want to be talked about. Like, that was really great. Look at what they did. This person helped me. So they're being talked about. They don't want to be forgotten. Um, they just want to be remembered. And it's hard because it seems like they want to be loved. But love scares them. And they don't know how to process it. They don't understand emotions. Emotions to them annoy them. Just like a nurse, if you're trying to, I don't know, do some procedure, and you're like, oh, I was just pushing, would you stop crying? Um, it kind of wears on you after a while. You hate having to do the procedure, and you don't want to hurt the person. But after a while, it's like, geez, like there's nothing I could do to make it. But the crying, I'm starting to get a headache, and they do have compassion. I was in nursing school. Nurses do have a lot of compassion. My sister's one, but after a while, you kind of tune it out. The person's gonna cry. You're gonna just say, "Look, it's gonna hurt," and it gets to the point where you have to remove yourself a little bit from it, because otherwise you're gonna start to feel your patient's pain. So you kind of tune it out and just go through the motions, and you say the words like it's going to be okay and it's just a few more minutes. And with the narcissist in the relationship, it's like we're just going through the motions. I'm just got to say this, just got to keep it at bay, um, just so they don't get hurt or they don't get overwhelmed. Like, that's a coping mechanism in the medical field. Don't get too close. And you have to kind of step back, address the pain because you're supposed to. You can feel some empathy for them, but I know with me, like when I was in nursing school, like it hurts my heart. Uh, it it hurts me too much. That's why I went on to law school instead, because the pain that they feel hurts me too much, and it was too overwhelming for me. It's not that I didn't care. It's just that you know uh, it was too painful for me. I could relate too much. I'm also a burn victim. Had like 200. I've had so many broken bones. Um, 7 stitches, 7 times. So yeah, I can relate. I can feel that pain that the patient is feeling. But with the narcissist, they don't feel our pain. They drop out, just like I dropped out of nursing. They don't continue with that pain. They drop out. They tune out what we're feeling. They also can't relate to it though. Like, I could relate to the pain, and that made it painful for me. They don't want to hear it. They don't even want to go through the relating. And that's what empathy is when you relate, where you can really understand it. So they drop out before they even started, before they even got to to our pain, to understand what we're going through. They tuned us out. They dropped out. They kept us as strangers. Um, they know about us, but they don't know about our heart. They hear us, but they tune it out. They run from it. And when it gets overwhelming, they bail. They bail. Just like I switched different career paths. And I didn't look back. It was just, that was the best decision. Why? Because I didn't want to deal with the pain I felt. And that's the same in the narcissistic relationship. Um, they keep us as strangers. They keep us as strangers. Just like the caregiver. All that matters is the payoff, what their paycheck is. If the paycheck gets too low, if they change how much they're going to pay, they'll be like, this isn't worth it. I'm out. If they have a higher paycheck, they'll jump ship and go to something that pays off more. And that's exactly what the narcissist does in a relationship. If the payoff meets their needs, they'll stay. Uh, if there's something that pays off better, they'll bail in a heartbeat and not look back. So I hope that helps you understand that they don't cross over. They bail. and they might still continue with the relationship, and that's where it gets confusing, because they will love bomb, they will confuse us. If they're that miserable, why don't they leave? They need some supply. They can't be alone. So until they secure that higher paycheck, or just a new one, because just like the nurse moving to a sunny state, if it's something more desirable to them, uh, they don't look back. And that's the hardest part. We're sitting here ruminating, missing them, thinking what went wrong, what could we have done, is it still salvageable? And they just moved on. That's the hardest part, to be that cold and empty inside. But it's a defense mechanism, and you would think that they could undo and let love in. They can't. It's too foreign to them. Their brain got stuck at a certain stage of their life, as far as the emotional development, that it's stuck there. And, part of it too, like if you think about learning languages, it's really easy for children to learn languages, a lot easier than when you're an adult. And that's kind of like the narcissist. If they're going to heal, it's a struggle. It would have been a lot easier if they did it when they were children. And now, they just don't have the capacity, or it just changes. And it's weird. You would think that adults would have an easier time uh, to learn a new language. But we have all those years of our sentence structures, our patterns of communicating, for me in English. Uh, those rules for English are in my mind. So it's kind of like untwisting all these years of the way we did language, as opposed to this is how this does it, is how this language does it when you're a kid. It's like everything's new. Everything's new, so everything never made sense. So you just absorb that and take it as it is. But the narcissist in a relationship, as far as changing how they are, that's a struggle. They're in their adult life now. They've gone through all those years of the rules that they've set up on how to cope with things, and relate that to our English language. We just know the rules, and to undo it, like, wait, which rule goes, that doesn't make sense, or the way we read things. We know certain words are pronounced certain ways. So healing for a narcissist is so foreign. They might try it. How many of you have tried another language, as an adult? I have. It's Chinese is so hard. Certain languages are easier than others, but the narcissist trying to heal is like us trying to learn a new language. We might try it for a year or two, uh, or we might do it for a certain depth. Okay, we made it to the third semester of level 3. And we don't continue going on and on and on with that language. Some succeed. Some of you guys might read daily in a different language, or talk to foreign family members daily to continue growing in your venture. But the narcissist, as far as healing, just like learning a new language, we'll do it for a little bit. I'll heal this much. I'll get to level 3, and then I'm done. That's all I need to do. But in a relationship, you need to keep growing and changing, just like the new slang that comes out, or certain new words that come due to technology. They don't keep up with the relationship. They're like, look, I already did it. I already did it. And as far as them healing, a lot of them don't even get to chapter 1, when you compare it to learning a new language. It's just like, this is going to suck. I'm not going to do it. It's too much. Some will try for a little bit, but they won't continue with the healing. And get to level 3. That's pretty good. Go to another country and try and use that. So if your narcissist got to level 3 in healing, good luck making that work. It's not going to help. Maybe a little. So please like and subscribe and comment below. I love topic suggestions, and I'll see you in the next video. Have a good day. Bye.